So we are joined by hospitality consultant Shannon Johnson. We thank you so much
Hello.
for taking some time for us. This is our business law class. I've got a room full here with me at Velma Jackson High School, and we're recording this for all of our friends in Madison County schools. Madison Central, my good friend April Majors over at Ridgeland High School,
Okay.
Germantown High School, the Academic Options Center, and our YouTube channel. So thank you for taking some time out of your schedule for us today to talk about something that
Of
really
course.
doesn't have anything to do with the legal system, but everything to do with how to do business as a professional in today's world. So thank you again for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here.
All right, so just before we get into some hospitality skills and some customer service type things,
Yeah.
tell us about your background. You're from Franklin County and then went to
Yeah.
Mississippi College. So just take it through that path.
Yeah. So interesting. This is my first time back in the classroom in a couple of years. I went to Mississippi College and got my education degree. Taught a few years. And then I transitioned over to hospitality, moved back here to Jackson, which brings me here today. I'm so happy that you invited me today, Greg.
Awesome. Now, when we talk about hospitality, obviously, Mississippi is a great hospitality industry. We think about the
Yeah.
casinos, the restaurants, the hotels. There's so many great careers in hospitality. But even if somebody is never going into hospitality, it is so important to master hospitality skills
Oh, absolutely.
because I've got a lot of talent in this room with me right now. I've got a lot of intellect. I've got a lot of ability. But I think most teachers can agree, and look, they know I get on the soapbox about this.
Yeah.
Having customer service skills, having hospitality skills in any industry makes you a better professional. So, as somebody
Absolutely.
that consults about hospitality, what are some skills that you're seeing young people can start working on now to be a better customer service person, and no matter
Yeah.
what business they go into?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, there's so much there. Um, so I don't know. I feel like hospitality is one of those industries that's very underrated as far as how you can prepare for it. But I would say the most important thing in hospitality, customer service, um, is just making sure you're being genuine and fostering those relationships. I saw that you talked with Kamisha Mumford not long ago.
That was
Um,
yesterday.
that was yesterday. Okay. So whenever I worked as hospitality operations manager, we would have several people of her caliber who would come through our restaurant. And they come and they expect a certain hospitality when they walk in the door. And I think a lot of people kind of underestimate that when they get into the field, that they don't realize that they're going to come into contact with so many people of her caliber, mayors, other senators. So I do think the most important thing is definitely being polished on a lot of soft skills. But I would say the most important thing is just being a genuine person.
Yeah, and obviously, you were working in the restaurant industry, which is, I
Yeah,
spend a lot of time myself. And everybody,
right,
it's not for everybody, but I have some here that want to work in mental health. I have some that want to be
right.
coaches. I have some
Yeah,
that want, to own their own business. But the
yeah,
same skills are going to go across the board because
absolutely.
somebody isn't trusting you to spend their money to get something,
Yeah,
they want to make sure that you're engaged, that they're getting your attention, that they're
right.
getting honest answers, and they're getting and you're not just jerking them around on information.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so what are some of those things that can make somebody marketable as
yeah,
someone that if you're going to take somebody's money, you got to be able to say, hey,
right.
it's a good investment.
Yeah, that was one of the things I wrote down. Just to remember that you're representing yourself, most importantly, and for people who represent other companies, you're representing the company as well. Once you do get out into the workforce, whatever field that you choose to go in, the company is going to make sure that you know that you're representing them, and they want you to make the best decisions possible. So one of the things that I think is really important is just keep your word. If you say you're going to do something, if you commit to something, make sure you follow through on that. I found that that's one of the things that people really appreciate is when um, you tell them that you're going to do something and you just follow through on that. And then just having a really good line of communication, working on your communication skills. One of the very first times I worked in a restaurant, I answered the phone and I didn't realize that on the other end of the phone was the owner's wife. And I wasn't very polished because it was one of my first days, but I learned very soon after when the owner came and had to talk with me. He said, "Look, we need you to be on top of things. You never know who's going to call on the other end of that phone, and we just need to work on those communication skills. So I think those are two really big important things that could go really to any kind of industry.
Yeah, and these kids get so upset,
Yeah,
and I get it, but every month they do a presentation. They're doing a Black History Month presentation as well,
awesome.
and they just think I'm just doing it to be mean, but it really is so important to get comfortable speaking.
Yeah,
Whether it's on the phone, whether it's like we are right now, whether it's in person,
yeah,
because even though we're getting more and more electronic with every industry, having
right,
that face-to-face communication is going to be the difference between making a sale and not making a sale,
right,
between getting a
absolutely.
job and not getting a job,
Yeah,
between being trusted and not being trusted. So,
absolutely.
as somebody that has spent in tons of time face to face with customers, what are customers looking for, or employers looking for, or employees looking for when it
Yeah.
comes to that face to face communication?
Yeah, one of the things that we're doing right now, they're looking for that what is the word for it, Greg? When you're speaking and I'm nodding as you're speaking, there's a term.
Engagement.
Yeah, that engagement. They're looking to see that you're paying attention, that what they're saying is important to you, basically. And you'd be surprised that many of the places that you go today for customer service or any type of business, sometimes you walk in and nobody even says hello to you. You don't get a greeting. Um, and I don't totally fault employees for that because maybe that's something that they haven't learned. So really just making sure that you are addressing people when you see them, make eye contact. Um, some of those things that we think are simple, but they really make a difference long term. One of our most most trusted um, people that we had that we used to serve in our restaurant reached out to me one day because he was so offended that when he had come in that day, and this was someone that was coming in every week, but when he came in that particular day, he said no one in the entire restaurant even noticed he was there. So basically, no one greeted him by name. No one went out of their way to say, "Hey, we appreciate you being here." And it really just made a toll on him. Um, Not only because he was one of our most loyal guests, but because he saw that someone didn't get that extra training that they needed, or they didn't know how important it was to be addressed that way. So I think that's one of those things that's really important.
Yeah, and just in simple things like being able to walk into a room and introduce yourself.
Yeah,
And it's incredible. I have so many dreams of careers in this room right now, and it's
yeah,
not a matter of intelligence, it's not a matter of ability, but it can be all a
yeah,
matter of confidence. Because
absolutely.
at the end of
Yeah,
the day, if you want people to pay attention to you, you've got to be confident in the way you speak.
yeah, yeah,
When you walk into a room for an interview, people have to know that you mean business and that you're a great
absolutely.
communicator.
Hmm.
And look, and I know when you're in high school, you're limited on the jobs you can do, but
Hmm.
that's a great time to start practicing. If you're working at McDonald's or Whataburger or whatever, that's fine. You're
Yeah,
still getting practice dealing with customers
yeah.
and getting practice with that face-to-face interaction.
Yeah, and that's really important, and people remember that. I think it's important to realize to all of your students, your reputation starts now. Even as far as we probably won't go down that hole, but even things that you post on social media, you have a reputation that you're building now. But it's an incredible opportunity because the most important thing that you have on your side right now is time that other people have already spent, time that other people will never get. And so it's really important to the best of your ability, learn all the skills that you can. Use that time to grow, and don't beat yourself up if you don't, if you're not perfect, if you have a speech that doesn't go that well, or you get some feedback that you weren't expecting, don't beat yourself up. You always have time to, brush up on those skills.
Now, obviously, as we celebrate Black History Month,
Yeah,
and something that I think is real to a lot of people, and in our district, we have a lot of first-generation Americans, so we have a lot of
yeah,
immigrants.
yeah,
And there's a lot of times where somebody might find themselves in a space where they are one of one, where
yeah,
nobody else in the room looks like them, nobody
absolutely.
else in the room is their gender,
Hmm.
nobody may be English as a second language speaker. So people are going to have unfair stereotypes about people, and it's not
Absolutely.
right, it's not
Hmm.
fair, but
Yeah,
it's everybody knows it's true. So there's no
right,
point in trying to hide it.
right, right.
So when you come in your, when you find yourself in those situations, because it's going to happen to everybody,
Hmm.
how do you make yourself comfortable and how do you stay confident to say, look, you may think XYZ about me, but I'm here
Yeah,
to show you that you're going to get great customer service and great
yeah,
business when you deal with
yeah.
me?
Yeah. Wow. That's interesting that you brought that up. I've been in that position. I'm sure everyone either you have already been or you're going to be in that position. I think one of the things, or the most important thing, is just being comfortable with who you are. If you walk in a room and you're expecting to just blend in with everyone else, and it so happens that you don't blend in, that's going to crush you. So you really just need to be confident in who you are, know why you're there, know what you stand for. I've been in those rooms where I felt like I was the smallest person in the room. Then I had to kind of reground myself to remind myself why I'm actually there. And just really, it's a sad thing, but just to accept the fact that people do stereotype, but not to let that affect the reason that you're there and the potential that you bring. That's a very important talk. I love to get more into that one day. It's definitely something that I'm sure everyone's going to face at some point. But yeah, most important thing is just knowing who you are, really.
Yeah, and I think that gives you credibility, and
Yeah,
it goes back to earning the trust of the customer. Now, we did talk briefly about it at the beginning. I would love to hear about,
yeah,
I don't think people understand what a great career you can have in hospitality in Mississippi,
yeah,
because, like we mentioned, we have unbelievable casinos that people just think gambling. Well, there are a lot of people that go into that to having a great customer experience, from the concerts to
yeah,
the dining to the
yeah,
guest services. We
yeah.
have multiple hotels, conference centers, restaurants,
Hmm.
that you can make a lot of money in if you
Yeah,
can learn these hospitality skills. And it's really interesting because
yeah.
it's one of the few fields where you can get the degree. I know Mississippi, the W has the culinary arts degree, which
Right. Hmm.
trains cooks. Southern Miss has the great hospitality program, where they even have focuses on casinos, focuses on
Right.
restaurants.
Hmm.
You can go that route, and also Hines Holmes community colleges have great associates
Yeah.
in hospitality. But this is a
Mhm.
field. If you're not, if you say, "Well, I don't want to go to college, but I want to make money." If you have great customer service and speaking
Right.
skills and are willing to learn,
Absolutely.
these companies would be more than happy to move somebody up that learns from the ground up. So talk
Absolutely.
about how, it's one of those fields where you can kind of get in either way.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I did want to also mention one of the things that the Mississippi Tourism Association actually has is a program where you can actually earn a certificate to say that you've been trained in hospitality. And I think that
Oh
goes a
wow.
long way because of, the actual organization. Mississippi is huge for tourism and for hospitality as a whole in so many sectors. So I think that don't be afraid because your resume doesn't exactly say, I've been a hospitality manager, or I've worked in a restaurant, or I've worked in, visitor services, because there are so many ways that just your personality, like you said, and the way you speak and interact with people can really transfer over into hospitality. Yeah. Such a huge field. It's really broad. Um, One of the things that I even considered was to get more into the tourism and development side. Um, and I just love people so much that really there's just so many different avenues that you can take with that.
Yeah, and like we said, I don't think people understand what a great area Mississippi is for that. So it's not
Yeah,
something neat. Obviously, look, everybody knows Las Vegas and Miami and
yeah,
places like that are
or
just, you know, almost everybody that works there is a hospitality person. And yeah,
yeah,
if you want to move there, you can definitely find a job, but
yeah.
there's jobs right here in Mississippi for it as well. But I do have some great questions I want to get to here, and
Sure,
these I'm glad you're thinking about this. I like this first one. This is
of
Colton
course.
Johnson. He's in 11th grade, and he
Okay.
asked, what do you think becomes the best method of customer service when the customer has already had bad customer service and believes you're going to give them the same?
Ooh, the best method. Hmm. I think when people encounter you, they want to see they're kind of sizing you up, right? If they already had a bad experience, they're already having their mind that it's going to be the same. And so, really, I think the best method is just to prove them wrong. Let them know that you're listening to them, you're being present, you care, you want to know what it is that they want from you. One of the practices that we used in the restaurant was just making sure that we were listening actively, and actually repeating back to the customer, or to the guest what they actually wanted from us. So people, I mean, all in all, people want to know that they're being heard and that they're being catered to. And they're getting the service that they are paying for, or that they will pay for. And you'd be surprised that many times when you do go above and beyond, or even if you just go a little bit above, they'll compensate you for that more than you realize, more than you expected.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love this question. This is Shania Willis. She's also in 10th grade, one
Okay.
of our basketball players here at Velma Jackson. And she
Awesome.
asked, how did you build your confidence when it came to speaking in front of a big crowd?
Ooh, interesting question. The way that I did it is not strange, but a little different. Um, Around 2020, whenever the COVID pandemic kind of started, I left the classroom and I decided to kind of just kind of refigure out who I was, and because we had all that time, right, to do that. Um, and I kind of just sat with myself and I decided to actually join the Miss Mississippi USA state pageant. And so whenever I got accepted into that and went through that, um, that involved a lot of talking to sponsors, getting people to invest in me, coming up with a platform that I stood for. And really, once I actually competed in the pageant, there was no going back. I mean, I said that I was going to do this, and once I was on that stage, um, really, it was just like, let's just do it. Don't think too much about who's out there. Don't think too much about who these people are or the image that they have of me, but just remember why I'm there. So that was my way of doing it. Um, and then, like you said, this is a basketball player. I think even playing sports in high school helps you with that because you're in front of crowds, you're in front of people. Mine was cheerleading. I was kind of getting more comfortable in front of people um, during football games, and they were angry and they were fuss at you, but you'd be there being the one jumping up and down and trying to help them get a little more excited and hyped about the game. So, really, just any way that you can put yourself out there in front of people and just realize that these people are human just like you are, and you have the same abilities and capabilities that they do.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because people say, I get nervous talking. Well, I'm not saying you got to speak in front of a large group. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously, everybody knows I'm a talker, so I don't mind.
yeah,
But I have girls all the time say, "Well, I want to do hair." Well, you better, but besides just doing hair, you better be able to talk to them. You better
right,
be able to tell them,
absolutely.
"Here's what I'm going to do with your hair, and here's how much it costs," and
Yeah,
uh, and, and have them bounce ideas off people. You're still going to have to be a great communicator.
right.
I love this question. This is Shavaka Page. He's in 11th grade. And
Okay.
he asked, when you were in school, did you always plan for this career or what was it that drove you to change?
I did not plan for this. So when I was in school, um, I wanted to be a nurse. So that's a drastic change. Once I got a few years into college, I realized that was the direction that I wanted to go. And so I did change to education. But then once I graduated from college again, from my 4 year college, I realized that I kind of wanted to step outside of the classroom and do something a little more out with the public. And so I don't know, I would say don't be afraid or don't stick so rigidly to your plan because you never know how things will turn out in your life. Now things will change for the better, even.
Awesome. I like this one. This is Tierney Kirkland. She's in 11th grade, also a
Yeah.
basketball player on our track team.
Okay.
And she asked, what's the biggest accomplishment that you are most proud of in this profession?
Ooh. I think I'm just most proud of just taking a chance on myself.
There you go.
Um, I mean, I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur deep down, but there's always that fear that you're not going to succeed or that people will think you're being weird for not just going their normal, 9 to 5 work path. So I think just getting over that mindset of um, just kind of stepping outside of the mold that's built for me and what people expect. I think that's been the greatest accomplishment, and I would encourage anyone to do that. Um, it's not easy. There are always still going to be people who don't understand, but I think it's definitely something that if that's in your heart to do, definitely just go for it. Give it a try. You don't want to get to the end of your life and think, "What if I had done this?" So I think that's one of my biggest accomplishments.
All right, I got time for two more. I like
Sure.
this one. This is Jasmine McBride. She's in 10th grade, wants to go to Georgia State University in Atlanta and be a psychotherapist.
Okay.
Uh, so obviously, she won't be speaking in front of a lot of groups, but she's going to have to learn how to talk to
Yeah.
patients.
Absolutely.
But she asked, if someone wanted to be in your occupation, what advice would you give to them?
Mm. Again, I would just say cherish your relationships and build those relationships with people. Like you said, Greg, you're going to have to talk to people. Um, I would say that people are your greatest resource. Whether that's people that's helping you get a job, helping you become promoted in your job, or even just looking, for networking opportunities elsewhere. People are your greatest resource. So, really, just I would say build that circle of people. You can never know too many people, and there'll always be someone that'll be able to help you get to your next path in life.
Well, they say the cliche, it's not what you know, it's who you know. I always take it
Right.
one step farther. I
Yeah.
say it's not what you know, it's not who you know, it's who knows you.
Oh,
So,
yeah. I love that.
so,
Who
building your
knows you? Yeah.
network, and just start building your network now. And a lot of them have
Yeah.
already started doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Platform, I've had students reach out to guests of this platform and they've been able to connect with them. So it
Awesome.
really is, the worst anybody's going to do is say no. Reach
Right.
out, be good, and
Right.
say, hey, people will respect the fact that you take initiative to reach out and try to build your network. So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
at the end of the day, closed mouths don't get fed.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love that. I hope they're
I
taking
like
notes
this.
on all of these quotes, Greg.
Oh yeah. I like this one. It's got one more, but this is Ray. She's in 11th
Sure.
grade. Member of our
Okay.
band, member of our JROTC, wants to go to Mississippi State University, wants to work in mental health.
Awesome.
But she asked, what's one thing you wish more people understood about the hospitality industry?
Hmm. Just one thing. I guess I wish people understood that people don't come for just a particular let's say you have a restaurant. People aren't coming just because you have food or that you have good food. People will come for an
There you go.
experience.
There
So
you
even
go.
if you're in Walmart for customer service, people come for a good experience. If they're coming to Char for a really good steak, they're not just coming for a steak. They can get a good steak anywhere. They come for that experience. For you to make them feel like they belong there, that their time there is worthwhile. So any sector that you go in, I talked with the visitor services director at the Mississippi State Capitol. And she talked about how people come in from out of state and they're not coming just to see the building; they're coming for an experience. So I think
Yeah.
that's something to really take into any sector of hospitality is just to remember that people are at the center.
That's awesome. Well,
Yeah.
we're almost out of time, and we thank you so much for taking some
Yeah.
time for us. But before
Sure.
we go, just talk about, as these kids start transitioning from high
Yeah.
school. Like I said, I mean, obviously you heard these questions, and they're thinking
Yeah.
about some really cool stuff. Got a
Yeah.
lot of intellect, a lot of ability in this room.
Yeah.
But what's going to set them apart is that ability to have those communication skills. So no
Yeah.
matter what the path they choose after high school, what are
Yeah.
some things they can work on now to make themselves even more marketable when they start
Yeah.
taking those next steps toward their
I love
college
that.
or career paths.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely. Starting today. And I love that so many of the students are engaged in extracurricular and other activities. I think that really sets you apart even coming into college and setting you up for scholarships as well. But really just remember that you are always marketing yourself. It doesn't mean that you have to dress up in nice, sleek clothes every day, but just remember that opportunities are all around you. So wherever you go, whatever you do, just remember to the best of your ability, try to speak professionally, try to respect other people, and just remember that people are always watching. Someone's always watching you. Not in a way that you should be like paranoid, but just that they're observing you. You never know what opportunity is around the corner. So really just trying to be as trying to be that professional, trying to work to be that professional that you want to be. And it's kind of a never ending process, but really just investing in yourself.
Love it. Well,
Yeah.
again, we thank you so much for fitting this in your schedule.
Of
Really important
course.
topic that doesn't get talked about enough, and I know I get on my
Yes.
soapbox about it, but
Yeah.
we'd love to have you on campus to talk about it as well.
Yeah. We need a
My
part
friend,
two. Yeah.
we'd love to have you. My friend Shannon Johnson, hospitality consultant. Thank you so much for
Absolutely.
joining us today.
Thank y'all so much. Y'all have a great day. I appreciate being
All right,
here.
see
Thanks.
ya.
All right.